quit being a hometown hero and start leaving your hometown in order to grow more and achieve more in your life. This is the topic that I want to talk about today because it's actually quite relevant and quite like current topic for me also right now, because since the last couple of months, like 6 months, I was living like more or less in the same town. Of course, we were like traveling to some different places from here and there, made living, had our apartment, had like our routines, everything was the same. And at some point we started to become like a bit comfortable, like my cameraman and me, because we had the same routine, everything was the same. With our friends, we know the places and everything was the same. So we realized, okay, it's time for some change, and this is why will be the last day here in Granada for us, and we will move to Medellin soon, and the explanation will come now. My name is Dennis and I'm building my business in sales right now because I want to live free and travel the world. As I told you in the intro, right now we are in Latin America, Colombia. And yes, here on YouTube I want to document everything, the ups, the downs, the in-betweens and also learnings. And they will be shared here on this YouTube channel. So if this is interesting, you can consider subscribing. And now let's continue with the video. I can imagine when you're like starting a journey of, okay, I have some goals and I really want to achieve those goals. I'm committing myself to achieve those goals, or I want to become better as a person. I want to have a better body, better financial situation, etc. Whatever it might be. Or that's so-called self-improvement, right? I don't like this term, but I think this is like the most popular one. The basic goal behind this, or the basic objective would be that we have to change our person, like we have to become a new version of ourselves. Why? Because the current version, the person that we currently are, is not able to achieve all of those goals. This is why we have to change and become a person that is able to achieve those goals. And what I learned from my mentor, it's like a metaphor, is that on the one side we have our old town, and then we have this new world out there. And that in our old town, there is where our old self, like the old version of us is living, and our new version of ourselves that is able to achieve our goals is living somewhere out in this new world, right? And we have to go out there in this new world in order to become this new version of ourselves, because we face challenges, etc. And old town would be a metaphor, for example, for, of course, like your friends and family, like the old people you hang out with, your old habits, your old business maybe, and your old products that you're selling that like not really are aligned with the true goals that you have, or also literally like the physical place that you're living in. This can all be like your old town, like the old area where you hang out, and that is limiting you. Con jugo en la hand. And the thing is, we often develop an attachment to our old world, so to the old things, like to the family, friends, social circle, old habits, old business, etc. Because this is like what we know. This is where we feel safe, where we feel secure, and also this is where we are someone, right? We are a hero of our old town. Like we might be the person with the most success in our old town if we like talk about the literal like place where we lived. We might be the person with the best body in this old town, and then we quickly develop an attachment to this old town to keep everything the same. And this is why it's so dangerous, because then there's no growth anymore, right? Hola. ¿Tienes hambre? Alright, on our last day we want to enjoy a bit like the typical food here from Colombia. Maybe in Medellin might be the same, but this is called patacones. They call it plátano, and they make it flat and they like fry it in oil, I think. In Germany this doesn't exist, but I think it's pretty delicious. And then they put like stuff like guacamole or something called chimichurri. I don't know what it is. I think like onions, tomato and something else. Can recommend this. No, Germany, right? West Germany.
I have been in Berlin and Dresden.
Do you speak a bit of German?
It's constant flashlight.
Ah,
okay, that's the only one. Yeah, I know. That was why she said I should learn that one.
Yes, yeah. It's an important word, right? So another thing that often happens in the old town is that because we feel safe, we feel great, we are the hero in this old town, is that we want to fit in. And what do we do when we want to fit in? We adjust ourselves towards the old town, towards the thinking patterns there, towards like the people there. And this is dangerous because this limits us from reaching our full potential. We cannot reach the full potential, the best version of ourselves, if we think like those average people, because usually, like the small town that we are, those people are average or not where we want to be, right? So our thinking, our personality becomes more and more like those people, right? Average of the 5 is true. So this basically means that we have two options. First, try to make the other people adjust to us and to our new standards and to increase our standards and drag them up. Or we can, that's the second option, leave the old town. Leaving the old town, or like trying to drag those other people up, increasing the standards, this would make them to a degree like leave their old town, which is again painful, and we have to be vulnerable, we have to let go of our self-image, and the very least people are willing to do this, right? At the very least people are trying to improve themselves, they're just accepted the status quo. This is why it's so hard to drag other people up. It has to come intrinsically from them, which is normally not the case. Basically, the only option that we have, if we always want to improve and increase our growth more and more, is to constantly leave this old town, because it's not only the pain of vulnerability, the pain of not living up to like our self-image, but the ego often creates ignorance. And ignorance in that form that we do not see any other possible ways, other possible solutions for us than to stay in our old town. We think, okay, what we are doing right now, the old town, the way we are doing is the best, we are on the perfect way, and we do not see other options. It's my way or the highway, right? Another personal example for me would be leaving Germany and moving here to Latin America, right? For example, this was something I was thinking about for a longer time, and it was always like where I was afraid of, right? Because leaving the old town, painful, etc. And I pushed it more and more into the future. And I also, because back then I had the YouTube channel, right? I didn't see the opportunities that moving into Latin America has also for the YouTube channel. Very, very beautiful nature, like 2 places where we can film videos, all the stuff that I do not have in Germany. Of course, there are also like pretty places, yes. So this was, for example, an opportunity for the YouTube channel that would help the YouTube channel that I wasn't aware of because of the ignorance and because of the pain or the being afraid of moving into a different country. Alright, and the last thing is that when you're, for example, also physically leaving, like literally like the old town, the small town where you're living, if you might be living in a small town, this will also result in a shift of thinking and you think bigger. I realized for myself, when I was 2019, I was still living in Germany. The place where I live were like around 1,000 or 2,000 people. And in 2019, because I knew, okay, there I was super unhappy, literally almost no friends, and I was unhappy, so I decided to move to Vienna, like the capital of Austria, 2 million. In that moment I didn't realize, but when I came back to the small town where I grew up, I realized, okay, that the thinking is just so small in those small towns, and the people there and the goals that they have, it's not going over the borders of those small town, right? As the small town limits their thinking. This is like literally the feeling that I had, and I think everybody who like moved out of their small town into a bigger city has realized the same. In a bigger city you meet people that want to do business, they want to improve more, they want to do more out of their life, all stuff that you do not find often in your small town. Alright, now I appreciate that you watched until the end. Again, the goal here with this channel is for me like to build a community of people that also want to improve, that want to become better, the best version of themselves. And I think, again, the concept of leaving the old town again and again is something that I learned from my mentor. And I'm pretty sure it will also help you a lot if you will use that, if you will ask yourself those questions. So again, my name is Dennis, and now we will follow with some highlights of the last couple of months here in Granada. Hope you will enjoy some highlights, and see you in the next video in Medellin. Buenas noches.